That's weird, man.
After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth.
He knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
You understand politics, you think you understand political parties, you're all full of crap, you don't know what the Illuminati is, you're either Republican or you're Democrat. You're wrong! Why? It's this easy, it's called divide and conquer. That's why there's two parties and only two. And they're controlled by the same people at the very top who belong to the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberger Group, they also belong to the Trilateral Commission, and you people don't even know what the hell that is. But if you did know, you would know that these are the people that control your world by making global policies that you never vote on and by which parties both serve and belong to these organizations and control your world. Now, here's how it works. Really easy. Divide and conquer can only work if the people that are divided are not aware of the falsely created division. If you're not aware of it, then it works. If you know about it, then it don't work no more. If you have socialism without capitalism, it becomes communism. If you have capitalism without socialism, it becomes fascism. And it's just that easy.
I love you.
That's all you need to know. That's why Masonic symbols are all over your freaking money. But you don't pay any attention. Ridiculous.
Big one that blew up.
Ass, bro.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That dude is getting
Dude,
ass.
if you could be a homeless guy at Renfest getting ass, that's the way to do it.
Hey, man,
You know.
let me tell you something.
That's actually where I came from. That's where he found me.
I don't think he's homeless. I think he's in costume. I think he's.
No, he is. Yeah, yeah. He's like an actor. Yeah.
Complete,
But,
I don't even think he's an actor. I just think he's like us. He's just called off the deep end. He's gone through the looking glass and he can't look back anymore.
well, when you're an actor and then you do that kind of shit, I feel like you're like, oh, I can use my powers for good now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like empowers the fight a bit. You know.
Oh, that's cool, man. That guy, I saw that the first time, and but I saw that the first time a few months ago. I probably sent it to you the first. I send it to you every time I see it.
Yeah.
So if you look on our thread, there's like at least 7 or 8 times I sent you that exact. Hey, man, that's a tasty looking ginger ale you got there.
Well, you know me. I have to have ginger ale before every podcast. You know, for some people, it's that demon water. You know, which I realized was starting to explain some of the comedians' behavior as of late. But you know,
Ginger ale keeps the shakes away, does
you
it?
start seeing the eye. You know,
Yeah,
it's,
cool too.
I do have a trimmer. A doctor told me I had a trimmer years ago, so that's what I blame it on.
have a trimmer?
It's, yeah.
What the fuck's going on with you?
I was born an old man. We've gotten into this.
Yeah,
I was born with back problems. I was born with all kinds of.
We used the white
Yeah,
boy
yeah.
with the Benjamin Button.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Hold on, I'm gonna turn this away from the camera.
Wait, does that mean that I get the ladies when I start
man,
looking really gross?
Right around 35, you're gonna turn into Brad Pitt. That's some good
There you
shit.
go. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm aging
That's
backwards.
a pretty white boy right there.
Trying to get that Brad Pitt money. You know, he was from
Let me tell
Missouri.
you something. Brad Pitt's so handsome.
He went to
no-
my school, by the way.
Brad Pitt is so handsome that nobody thinks it's gay to call Brad Pitt handsome.
Yeah. There's a certain level where men are like, well, I'm not gay or
Yeah, I'm not
nothing,
gay or
but you know,
nothing.
I'd like to look like that.
No,
you
we
know?
don't even have to say it. It doesn't make anybody gay to say that. Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. It's just what it is. Like, goddamn.
I don't think any guys like, unless you're part of like the fat acceptance movement, you're like, oh, you know, I'd prefer to have a six pack if I'll, you know.
Those people, the fat acceptance.
Yeah. That's my team. See, we have to represent both halves of society. So
Oh, see,
I'm not even pro-fat. I'm just like, hey, I'm fat. I might as well lean into it.
I look at you like a former pro athlete that just got kind of like shot out and doesn't work out anymore.
Yeah,
You're still there.
I'm like that football player that never played football and then got real fat. Yeah, it's kind of
Awesome.
like that
team
situation.
manager.
Yeah,
Team manager.
you know.
Manager.
Well, welcome back to another episode, guys. Welcome back to another episode of That's Weird, Man. It's
That's
the
Weird,
Comedy
Man.
and Curiosity podcast with Jacob Hayes.
And Khalil Ali Tomlin.
That's right. Ooh.
Esquire.
Ooh, okay. We're adding some. Okay, I need to get some. I'm actually Lord Hayes. No.
Dude, Esquire means fucking like lawyer. I mean, I wrote my own appeal once, so I'm kind of a lawyer.
That's pretty cool. I got it.
I won.
That's the way to do it.
I wrote my own writ of habeas corpus and won. And actually, you can
That's
Google
cool.
my name, Khalil Ali Tomlin, versus the state of California,
Mm-hmm.
or vice versa, and you can see where I wrote my own shit,
Mm-hmm.
and actually people have cited my case and won their appeals and gotten out. I'm actually in case law now. I'm awesome.
That's so fucking cool, dude. And you didn't have law experience before that, right? That's you just kind of
No,
do
I
what you
just
can,
I
you know?
watched a lot of lawyer shows.
a lot of Law and Order. I was like, I got
Bro,
this.
no, like Law and Order, dude. Nothing like, dude. I grew up on L.A. Law. I'm old, fucking Corbin Burnson.
yeah.
Bro. I'm 43.
That's some rough TV. I mean, I'm sure there's some good stuff, but like when I watch that shit at my age or my generation, we look at this stuff, I'm like, man, it's a lot of heavy shit.
Dude,
You know.
yeah. Remember in the Cosby Show, fucking Bill Cosby's wife in the show was a fucking lawyer. So I was like, she can
Oh,
do
yeah.
it. I could for sure. That made us all like, hey, I could be a lawyer.
I think Cosby's a perfect example of how you can do a lot of good and a lot of bad in one life. You know, like
Pobrecito.
don't have heroes,
Bill
man.
Cosby. Well, you know, when you're talking about Dr. Cosby, people used to really do that before all the rape stuff. People used to like black people would check.
Did he
you
get a
about
doctorate or an honorary?
Yeah,
or something?
he got a doctorate, and somebody's telling me it's from what I saw from the super fucking leftist. What's that idiot's name? I don't like him at all. Camu Bell. I am not a fan.
I think I've seen-
I don't.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not like wishing bad on him,
Mhm.
and I'm not wishing for anybody else not to like him because I don't like him.
Yeah.
I hope he makes all the fucking money in the world. And another rich black man ain't hurting nothing. He ain't my favorite because he's just too woke. Like I don't like the super woke comedy. I don't like it. I don't like the super. I mean because part of it is being offensive, and you're really only being offensive to people with common sense. It's like he's pro everything that's like kind of absurd or started off as absurd and might be like accepted now.
Mhm.
You know, and that's his whole thing. I saw a stand-up special with him, and I want to say he directed and produced. I guess I'm plugging it now. There's a special on Showtime called "We Need to Talk About Cosby." That's literally the name of it.
I think I saw a bit of that.
And he's so woke that the sexual therapist, the sexual behavioral therapist, who's like the expert
Mhm.
during the thing, is like, and God bless her, she is morbidly obese. No, okay, I put it like this: if she lost 100 pounds,
Yeah.
she'd still be technically obese.
Okay.
If she lost like 100 and a quarter,
Mhm.
she'd still be obese. Not like
Yeah.
overweight. She'd still be obese. Like, and God bless her.
hmm
But you know,
Well, you've seen that photo, right, of back in the day of like it was like the world's fattest man in like just 100 years ago, and he's like the average. Not average dad, but almost the average
the
dad
average
at like
dad
your,
from
you know, when you're picking up
Wisconsin.
kids. Yeah. You're just like, oh, it's the cheese curds guy. You know, he's a Packers fan. You know,
he's the average Minnesotan.
it's not even funny. So it's
Okay.
the cheese curds are. I get why y'all get fat. Okay, you know they literally just drink beer, eat cheese curds, watch football. I hated it as a kid seeing that kind of stuff, but when you get older, you're like, you know, it is the little things in life. You know.
My
'Cause-
brother actually played for the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, that's cool.
He got signed by them out of high school, and I believe he was in Mauer.
Okay.
He was in his wedding. Like they're
Yeah,
good
yeah.
friends. The kid's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. I think they were roommates. They're real tight. But yeah, the people from that part of the country are they're a heftier bunch. But I didn't know that. But I guess it's with the invention of processed foods that would have had to been the difference, because nobody could have been like my 600-pound life back when you actually had to grow or catch your own food. There ain't no shot.
No.
That came when
Unless
shit
you
came
were
in a
like
can.
the king of Hawaii or something, because you're eating pineapples all day.
I'm convinced that the powers that be, the little
Mhm.
little chocolate man in the because he looks chocolate. I know he's a white man.
Who are you talking
But
about?
The guy in the video, the little guy.
Oh yeah.
He
The
looks
homeless
like a
guy.
little
Yeah, yeah.
chocolate candy.
Yeah.
You would get it like, ew, this is something melted on Easter.
Like he breaks out of the Christmas presents or
real
something.
shit. It's
you
like
know?
he's literally being so deep that nobody's tripping on the fact that he's in blackface. He's in total blackface.
I've seen that
Nobody
clip so many
cared.
times. It wasn't until you said it. I was like, I guess, you know, like, well, you've seen those tanning competitions where they like will dye the rest of their body, but then not the face. It's like, what are we doing here? And you know they're spraying downstairs too, just to fucking, you know, get some more DMs on Tinder and shit, you know,
Bro,
or whatever the fuck
man,
you're using.
my kid's mom, she's fair. She's Hispanic, but she's fair. And she used to go through all these little things like, basically, I always made a lot of money, and she didn't work at all. So she went out and did all kind of fun shit and probably dated and shit while I was at work every night. I used to work from 5 to 5. I made like 10 grand a month, but I worked from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Oh, okay.
And she had this whole social life separate from me. But one of her things she got into was tanning. This goofy bitch in the 2015s was going to tanning beds, and then she saw an episode of Snooki and JWoww, and then she started rubbing bronzer on herself, and shit was every fucking where.
Yeah.
And it was so absurd. It was just the most absurd thing I'd ever seen.
I blame reality TV, Jersey Shore, Kardashians for all that kind of shit.
I blame the Kardashians for so much. And I promise you, the multiverse is real, and there's a parallel universe where those bitches are being tortured every second of every day.
You smoked your DMT yet for this part of the podcast?
I hit something in the bed of the truck on the way over.
So let's get into it. The Matrix, okay? It's the beginning for a lot of people of waking up or awakening or, you know, realizing everything's bullshit or whatever. The red pill is the blue pill. I don't know if I've shared with you my my Klaus Schwab impression on this. You know, have you heard the song yet? No, I don't think I've heard the song or sang the song for you.
I'd like to hear it.
It's short, it's sweet. But yeah, I picture this, you know, New World Order ad campaign, UMass, you know, broadcast this like V for Vendetta and all the TVs, you know. Hello and welcome back to the New World Order. I am your host, Klaus Anal Schwab, the lizard spokesperson. We've prepared a little musical number for you today. Go something like this. I'm a big fan of the Frank Sinatra. Start spreading the news. Start getting the digital IDs. We're one great big part of it. The New World Order. So that's my ringtone now.
Those are some evil dudes, man.
Oh, yeah.
There's an episode of The Simpsons from back in the day, and it's Montgomery Burns like doing his cackle, and he's dying laughing at something horribly like inappropriate.
Yeah.
And Bart he looks at him, and he goes, "That is one evil dude, Homer." Yeah. And Homer goes, "He's not that evil." But every time I see somebody that's true, like, I don't think Bill Gates is evil the way Carl Schwab is evil, or the Rothschild family is evil, or the Rockefellers are evil. They're different evil.
Oh. How so?
I
like different levels?
They're way different level.
Oh, okay.
I think that who were we talking about originally? Not Schwab.
We were talking about the Matrix and Schwab.
Matrix and Schwab. Then where we go?
Then you said you mentioned Bill Gates.
Oh yeah. Bill Gates is more of like he's like the Joker evil.
Yeah.
Bill Gates was a nerd. He's probably has Asperger's.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Like
some form of something, yeah, for sure.
He's definitely on the spectrum as far as autism goes.
He does that shaken thing.
Yeah.
Psychopaths do.
He's definitely on the spectrum. He's probably severely autistic, and has just been trained to talk in front of people. Because I saw that shit.
Yeah.
That's dude.
When he's being, like, his
Let me tell you
testimony or
something.
whatever.
I've been in the fucking room getting interviewed while I was under arrest for murder. And I wasn't doing all that shit. That guy was on a good one. Like I was just kind of like, fuck.
Yeah.
Not going to work today.
Gotta cancel some appointments. But
no, but I think he's like, I think the world made him evil.
Mm-hmm.
Just how matter-of-factly he talked about the fact that there's too many people here and that we could do something about it. And he didn't mean like...
He did a TED Talk on how, there's too many people. Like if he had a German accent, he would have been fucking...
You know... See, the Germans get a bad rap because
There's good Germans.
they went to war with the world twice.
Yeah.
And that'll piss people off.
And
I get it.
I think some survived for sure, but we killed a lot of the bad ones, you know. Not all of them, but I think we killed a good chunk.
I
you
think
know?
we were on the same side as them.
Well, with the scientific side of them, I think so for sure. But oh no, I mean I agree. I think there's definitely more going on. I don't view it as, you know,
Hitler didn't die in a bunker. No way.
well, he for sure went to South America, if not Antarctica.
He for
so.
sure didn't die in that bunker, and I'll
Yeah.
leave it at that. And I'd also like to say that I have a grandfather who was born like in 1919 or 1918,
Mhm.
and he fought in World War II. He was in the Pacific Theater, but he fought in World War II, and he played Negro League baseball. And this is somebody like he died of Alzheimer's. He had he just kind of deteriorated from that. But before that, he was a man of few words, but they were so poignant. And you always listen. I always listened when he talked because he didn't talk that much.
Mhm.
But when he talked, it was awesome. And every now and again, he would bring up shit. And when I tell you, man, he said, man, them Germans, he said, like, they would listen to it on the radio. It wasn't on TV. They'd sit around the radio and said, every day you turn on the radio and then fucking Hitler done marched through another country.
Jeez.
And it was like nobody here was ever worried about him coming here.
Yeah.
Ever. Nobody here, it's fucked up to say it, nobody here expressed any care about what he was doing to the Jewish population that he was coming across. They didn't care.
Well, yeah, the Times, the establishment,
They didn't
definitely.
care.
didn't, you know.
A lot of that sentiment was shared here in
Mhm.
corporate America, in the military, politically.
Mhm.
There's just certain things just went unsaid. But a lot of that sentiment was shared. And you could see that if you just don't go by history books. Literally, what I do is I go by literature from the time period I want to learn about. And if you really want to see what people thought about different people at a certain time, fucking, if you want to go back to like the late 1800s and shit, read fucking Dostoevsky, bro.
Yeah.
Read shit like that. Read War and Peace. Read shit like that.
Mhm.
Read Crime and Punishment. You'll be like, oh, this was just normal talk. This is just how people talked in this part of Europe about these people, these certain people.
Mhm.
Like, and it's fucked up. But I think that's why black folks talk about everything different. And the old OG black dudes back in the day that actually fought in the war, they all told me like they didn't give a fuck what they was doing about to the Jews. They didn't give a fuck about the countries they were invading. Once you decide, the Blitzkrieg is what fucked y'all up. Once y'all decided to attack Mother England, because to be completely honest, I call it Mother England because that's what it is. That's really home. We're still an outpost. I know it seems like we're separate, but we're not. Like I was saying, the shit in the
Yeah.
courts with the robes and all the flag with the it's a different flag. It's not the same colors we raised. It's got some kind of weird shit on it. It's
They're still treated as like crowned colonies of the crown kind of a thing.
yeah, but according to like the way procedure is written and like law is a different language, like it technically kind of still is. Like I was saying before, like just that same invading force that Great Britain was.
Mhm.
Once Great Britain came to the Americas and decided, well, fuck whatever else is going on there, this is our shit now.
Yeah.
And then we spread west. It just became the same force. So internationally, we just became England here.
Right.
We became England separated. We're here, and it's the exact same thing. Like I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. Like we've never left any place we fought a war in, even the wars we didn't win. We're still in Korea. We didn't win Korea. We're still there. We bombed the shit out of Japan. We beat the fuck out of the Nazis. There's army and air force bases all over Germany. There's a giant fucking Marine Corps naval base in Japan. Like we don't leave anywhere we fight. We don't leave anywhere we win. At period.
Yeah.
So America in 247, 48 years basically annexed the entire world that Western Europe hadn't already annexed. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's definitely it's the same. It's tough because on the ground level, it's like, especially when I meet like people from Europe, they have a tendency of like, oh well, you guys are the free country, so when the U.S. does these things, like, oh, you all agreed to it or voted for it. It's way more of like a, you know, like we talk about the pyramid and all that shit, where it's like, no, it really is just like the people who are at the top, where they have the most access to all the compartmentalized information, who are directing things.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the guy who's going to serve is like, no, I'm just being patriotic. You know, so it's crazy how you can see everybody's like doing things for the good. It's like the road to hell's paved with a million good intentions kind of a thing, where it's just like that's why you do have to kind of step back at a certain point and go, am I working at an organization or for a government or whatever? Like, what's the end result? If it's not good, then that has to be factored into the equation more.
So do you think if it's not good, it has to be bad? There's degrees of severity of badness.
Yeah, the good and evil things is its own whole thing. I think fundamentally it's, people talk about principles, I don't think you can just have whatever your principles are. I think there are, things I look at as like spiritual or God's law, I think is the same as natural law. So you don't have to be religious to be a moral person per se, but the tenets of that are from the same thing,
Yeah.
that same inclination. And it's when people try to play God or think, oh, I don't have to be bound by these restrictions because it's a setback. Because that's literally how what makes psychopaths. They'll meet somebody and they go, oh, you're polite or you're nice or you have resources I can extrapolate. They have to abuse you because that's their way of saying, well, see, I'm smarter than you. And therefore, to them, it would be a sin almost not to do it. You know what I mean? Because that's that evolutionary Darwinian thinking where it's like, oh, it's literally survival of the fittest. And I hate that kind of philosophy. I think it's very dangerous.
It is. I've been to prison and I've been to like the service and I've been in the private sector, and that shit is evil is subjective. Evil is subjective, and people decide, they pick and choose what they decide is evil, or good or bad at the time. I do think that all the moral compass that's kind of like encouraged and is common in several religions, whether Judeo-Christian or Far East, it's kind of like the same principle of right living and right behavior, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Upright.
Yeah.
So I believe that is true, like 100%. But where the Matrix is involved is that the entire construct that we've all agreed upon is based on nothingness.
And justified evil, I would say, as well. Where it's like, well, I'm getting paid for it, or well, that's my boss.
The Sims are now making their own The Sims.
Simulation. Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, have you seen that episode of Rick and Morty about the microverse and the tinyverse?
Yeah.
Bro, the minute it did that, I had a flashback to that scene when he goes, wait, you're from another universe that he made? And you're from the universe that I made? The universe I was making when my dad died and I was too busy to go to the funeral. Like, everything becomes real at once. And so all relative. Yeah. All of a sudden I go, oh, I've wasted so much time and energy on shit that might not even be real at all.
Well, I think the experience is relative. I still think there's immutable laws of nature and things like that, even with human behavior. I really do believe that. But I do account for, for example, you could have a really good religion for a generation. To expect it to be good and serve the community and hold up to its ideals past a certain amount of time is naive, because we see that with every human institution where it degrades. So, I think there is a lot of good with a lot of different religions. I don't mean that. To me, that doesn't make it like, oh, it's all the same. But I love studying comparative religion and different stuff like that, because that's even if you're not trying to like convert or change your beliefs, it gives you context for, well, this is the history and the culture that I come from. Why do we believe it? You know what I mean? Rather than just going, okay, I'm accepting it all.
Do you notice that in every society it doesn't change until society itself splinters from society starts. So we'll start with the Petri dish society, the Lisa Simpson. I put my dirty tooth in a fucking Petri dish, and now people. Okay, so we got that, and they got nothing, and then all of a sudden they got this religion, this moral code based on something I left on the TV and they heard, right?
Oh, I see.
So now that's what they got.
Like in Men in Black when he opens up the locker.
So now it's all on this triangle, and the whole triangle is living according to the moral code that they heard me watching on a rerun of fucking
Rick and
2.5 Men or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. So now
we worship Larry David.
Now they're worshiping Larry David, the whole shit, and the entire culture though. And so, but there's always going to be dissent, right? And when the dissenters actually get big enough in numbers, what happens is the society actually, what we know as popular society, the society that's recorded historically, separates from the institution that provided this moral code. perfect example of Christian countries all of a sudden having a separation between it. Like there's no God in school. Anything that's state run, because it's the state, so there's separation of church and state. So anything that's state run, anything that's government run, there can be no religion involved in it at all. But it never starts that way. It builds up and it degrades into that.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole argument for, and I've heard a lot of interesting arguments around this subject, because that's the push of our time is, can you have a successful country or whatever with multiculturalism?
No.
Not necessarily. Yeah, exactly.
No.
Because to me, you can have everything else be different, right? You can have people from all over the world, different whatever, even different religions, but if there's not some shared philosophy, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, Ten Commandments, whatever, no society in history has ever survived for any length of time without that. You have to bind people through something. That's where the government can go, hey, we could use this to propagandize it. People do it with religion. They'll do it with other things. To me, that doesn't negate that there isn't like an ideal. The ideal still exists, but man is corrupt as fuck. And if you're in power, you know what I mean? And so it becomes this interesting thing where, speaking of perceptions, where it's like, I'm sure a lot of people, if they got outside of whatever you want to call reality, they might go, oh, so there's no God, there's no anything or whatever. It's like, well, maybe. Or even if aliens like affected our history, right? It's like, but
maybe. Yeah, exactly. You have the side who's completely and 100% this is what it is, and the other side that won't entertain it at all.
Yeah.
It's the medium, is the middle people are the people that really make the ears grind.
I mean, my philosophy is whatever God is much more of a spiritual, supernatural force that allows everything to unfold. And then evil is this coercive force. It's literally, whether it's Saturn or death or whatever depiction, you realize evil's in one way or another traced back to death. Not to do a Bible deep dive, but that's kind of the way the Bible talks about it. Like, what is Christ? He's the truth, the life, and the way. And Satan is literally, he brought death and sin into the world, right? So it's this concept of, even if you're not Judeo-Christian, these kinds of, this dichotomy, what's that one religion? Zoroastrianism. I was about to say Zoltarism.
Fuck, dude,
it's that kind
that
of
was
thing.
a precursor to Judaism. You went way back.
Yeah.
You went back to like Assyria. I know a lot of shit.
I like to time travel. So.
This is why this is why we're friends. It's because it all spawned from this. Well, first of all, this kid is a kid. He's a kid almost.
I'm not 17. I don't know what he's saying here.
What year were you born?
1995. Yeah.
I was biologically old enough to have this kid.
I'm actually his long lost son.
Socially, I was getting no pussy in 1995. And all the homies that's watching this, you niggas wasn't getting no pussy in 95 either. Except for Cool Whip, because that nigga was light skinned. So he was getting it. He had the green
That's the
eyes.
coolest nickname I've ever heard.
Oh, you got to meet that's my boy.
I kind of want to steal that, though, because I'm kind of Cool Whip.
Make it
We'll
short
be
with his name in it, because he really supports it.
Okay, shout out. Man.
Shout out Whip. Jason Moses.
Oh, yeah. That's an awesome nickname, dude. That's awesome.
So, no, but yeah, so technically, so that's why, so our points of view, this kid is so much younger than me. He knows so much shit. The way we became friends is because we're both comedians. We do stand-up comedy. You don't mind me doing this, do you?
No, I appreciate it.
We do stand-up comedy.
Praise me more.
And we met at a showcase, at a comedy showcase. I did 6 or 7 minutes. I think I was really, the night I met you, I think I was kind of on a little bit, and he let me run long.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have got like 8 minutes the day you met me. But this kid goes up there. Forgive me. This pasty kind of chubby kid. He's awesome.
Millennial, pasty, chubby millennial.
Yeah, like he definitely has a job that has to do with computers and being indoors, right?
Yeah.
The space camp kid.
I'm the monkey they shot into space, and this is me coming back to Earth.
The space camp kid
reintegrating
goes up on stage and does, in my opinion, and my best friend Lo. Lo's having a little baby.
Shout out to Lo.
Major, his son, he's having a son.
I know. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's so awesome. So they got
Major.
The news?
He already named him, but he'll be here soon. Like,
hey, congrats.
Fuck around. I gotta call him every day to make sure. But he and I, it was a weird crowd because we were in Hollywood, and it was like a weirdo crowd that night. But Lo and I were losing our shit because this kid's up here telling jokes about the Trilateral Commission and the Bilderberg Group, and
nobody's safe with me.
No, yeah. I mean, he was like really going in. You might have mentioned Moloch that night. I mean, he was on one.
Oh, yeah.
And this is my best friend since I was 5. And we basically lived the same, well, not the same life, but we kind of traveled like the same path with our behavior and the shit we did until we were about 20. And then and he works in law enforcement now, and he always tells me, man, you would have been Alonzo. Alonzo is Denzel Washington's character from Training Day.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, great movie.
Had
Yeah.
had I made it and not become a felon basically and become a cop, there'd definitely be a movie about it.
Oh yeah.
That line, do you want to go to jail or you want to go home? It just makes so much sense to me. It's just it makes so much sense. It's like, why is that even an argument? Why are we talking about this? Of course I want to go home. Here, take it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and that's what I would have robbed every drug dealer in Los Angeles.
That movie, I couldn't believe when I saw. I think I saw it like when I was in college, and I was like, "This is one of the best films I've ever seen."
But we both agreed. He didn't say it first, but we both agreed that I would have been Alonzo.
Yeah.
And everything worked out the way it was
That's
supposed
so
to.
funny.
Sometimes he gets on my head because I have these fluctuations where I'll be doing something and financially it'll be great, and then I'll have other times when it's not so, but I'm whatever. And he'll be like, "Man, why don't you go back to?" And I always tell him, everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing exactly what they're supposed to do at this moment right now.
Yeah. You got to go through a learning phase sometimes.
I'm not a person who follows a script or a plan or like the rules and you do this and you do this and you do this and my father taught me this and I do that. No, I literally go like that feather at the beginning of Forrest Gump. I go where the wind fucking takes me. I go where opportunity takes me. I go where chance takes me. And dude, I have the most colorful life of anybody you know for sure. You don't know anybody that's been in as diverse places as I have.
No,
and thrived.
Yeah.
But I went so far left. Where did I start with that?
Oh, we were talking about. So we got into how we met, but originally we were talking about the Matrix.
So Lo was there.
We'll circle back. Don't you worry.
And this kid is doing a whole fucking 6, 7, 8 minutes, maybe 10 on fucking conspiracy theory shit that's going over the head
Conspiracy
of this
truth shit.
Hollywood crowd that's in there. Like we're literally the only people who didn't go home and change our clothes to go there. We literally showed up in what we were wearing. Like and we listened to this kid.
I still got some laughs though.
You got quite a few laughs. You got a bunch of laughs from me and Lo.
They're like, this kid's insane.
And we were cracking up laughing. And afterwards, I have this eye. The little homie calls it the eye for greatness. He could look at a screw and go, "That's a 13 millimeter. Hand me a 13." We call it
awesome.
we call it the eye for matrix for greatness. And I had it with you because there's a universe running parallel to this where I'm basically like Jimmy Iovine level. I'm like Weinstein level without all the rape. I'm like that level.
Without the gut.
Yeah, I'm like that almost. I'm like that
Let's
level.
be honest, I'm probably Weinstein in the other universe.
But no, I'm
Okay.
saying there's a level parallel to ours that's not far off
Yeah,
where I'm like the man where I can see shit and say, "Oh man, that's awesome."
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it with you and I go, "Oh, he just needs his own audience. These people are idiots." That was gold. It was like fucking Kenny Banya. That's gold, Jerry. Gold. It was
Well, and I knew it was a risk with LA audiences, and I'm trying to do stuff that's more universal. But
you can't do that in Middle America. You have to do your set on a coast. You can't do conspiracy shit. Or Arizona, New Mexico.
No, I actually think it's the opposite. I
Really?
think, oh no, without question. Like people don't realize, Middle America has its own versions of like, oh, it's caught in its old worldview. But the average Middle America person, I think, is not that they would like, oh, I agree with everything this kid's saying, but I think they would be interested by it. You know, I think they would actually be open to it. Whereas LA, I think LA is a little bit more of like I used to call them the burrito comics. Like everything's got to be about weed and burritos, you know. And I'm not against that, but because I smoke weed, I eat
There
burritos.
was a good
but,
stretch
you know
where
what I mean?
all comedy out of LA was weed and microwave burrito comedy.
Yeah, it's that kind
It
of
was
shit.
it was from Pauly Shore all the way to like I'm gonna say like 06,
yeah, sounds about
07.
right.
Fucking my man Mitch Hedberg, he died because he just went too far. He was shooting fucking heroin, but he came out here, started getting put on TV shows. He
Yeah.
was doing stand-up shit. He fell right into the Hollywood trap. Somebody gave him a balloon of heroin. No more Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
I'm talking about immediately before he was even super popular. He's like Patrice O'Neal, more popular in death. Then Patrice O'Neal was so awesome. He would have amassed the biggest he'd be he could have never been booked and billed the same way Kevin Hart is or one of those kind of comedians because of his look, but he absolutely would have been a household name had he lived just like a few more years.
Yeah.
I think he died in 2011. I discovered him in like 2013. I discovered him, I was going through relationship issues and, you know, shit you type into YouTube. So I'm listening to these podcasts, these relationship podcasts, and an old one pops up, and it's called The Cult of Black Phillip,
Yeah.
which is a play on Dr. Phil.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally this one guy who feels like if I could save one guy from a toxic, fucked up bitch, I saved the world.
Right. Yeah.
And so he would really give you game. And he was giving you game from a big, funny looking, fat motherfucker. He wasn't even like a good, you know, he wasn't giving you like the world according to Shamar Moore. Like, I'm just this pretty man and this is how the world treats. No, he was like, you know, I'm so fat it's killing, and it did kill him. I'm so fat it's killing me, and I look like this, and I'm from the hood in Boston, and whoop-de-whoop. But he figured it out because I see some of myself in him. There's certain guys that no matter, I don't check off the boxes that chicks are, you know,
Sure.
that are when they're 15 and when I grow up I want to have a husband that's this and this. I'm in like 3 of those, and most of them are the things that I do.
I've got like 1.
Yeah, and most of them are like the things that I actually do for you.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I love you and I'm attentive and I can fix things around the house, and then that's it. But like the whole tall, dark, and handsome, I'm like medium brown, short. I'm okay looking. I do okay, but I do good with women. I made up for all the other shit. You got those guys who actually are tall, dark, and handsome, and they're bullshit. They got nothing else. They're just a mannequin standing there, just a good looking mannequin fucking standing. They contribute nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like, you know, everybody develops according to, I guess, what we get naturally. That's how we do. That's how we develop.
Well, a lot of people are in the rush to, like, you know, play house, do the whole thing. I get it. But I think you have to think, like, am I just being the cog in the wheel? You know, I've talked about this with friends because I used to have people, which is weird because I'd basically be the guy being like, no, you should follow your dreams and, you know, be an entrepreneur and stuff. And everybody would be like, you know, Jake, most people can't do that because they have to do this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. I'm not necessarily I'm not looking down upon the 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you know, I always wanted to act and write and be a storyteller and, you know, comedy. I always was a lover of comedy. I didn't know if I would ever have a chance to do it. You know, it was more from the acting world. So it's been great to actually get into it, you know, work on sketches, do stand-up jokes and stuff like that. But it would really bother me. I think that's what you run into more than anything in the Midwest is because there's a strong sense of responsibility, especially as a dude. It's like, well, you got to be financially responsible, all that shit. So it's a lot more of like, and I kind of get it because it's kind of like the dad approach of like, well, be grounded, you know, build something that you can actually do. But the problem is the system's falling apart, right? Like people who did what they did, you know, like our parents' generation could have done the college, get the job thing. We can't. You know?
Our parents' generation, so we're talking about the baby boomers.
Yeah.
They could have, in a major city in the 80s, bought a house for less than $100,000 that's now worth several $100,000. I don't know what the fuck minimum wage was back then. I'm usually, me and my dad, I get drunk and me and my papa was talking up. He tells me all this different shit about back in the day, but minimum wage as compared to what things cost was drastically different. Like my father worked at General Motors. He was like 18, 19 years old. He worked at General Motors on an assembly line. Or he might have worked at Chrysler.
Yeah.
On an assembly line.
Mm-hmm.
And he drove a new Corvette.
Yeah. That's unthinkable.
He had a kick-ass apartment not far from the beach down south in South Bay, and he drove a fucking Corvette.
Yeah.
Like, this is how it was.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's so, the cost of living, just the regular cost of living compared to what the average worker is making is like night and day. So I used to feel really bad when people from that generation would look down on me for, you know, the certain things I would do that, you know, you should be, but you're this age. When I was your age, I've heard that so many times from like my father, my uncles, other men that are older. Like, shit, how old are you? Nigga, when I was your age, I had whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, and my kids was whooped, and I'm like, yeah, but you know, your father bought a house for $12,000, and you know what I'm saying? So,
well, and like my generation, I think that's why so many millennials can't wake up. Like, we've been in the stew of it the whole time. Like people who were like alive and cognizant and socially adaptable before.
So you're
the
a
internet,
millennial,
you know? Yeah, it's I think between like 89 and then 2000 or something
what
like
the
that.
fuck? So what the? I
It's
think
like
so.
the millennial.
I'm not.
I've heard a lot of different breakdowns, so it just kind of depends.
I'm 1980. So whoever's watching,
You should be X, I think. Like my sister's.
My
Gen
sister's
X,
Gen
right?
X, and she was born in 1970.
Well, I think each one
Kurt
is
Cobain
like a
and all
15
those. It's
or
7.
20.
A generation
Oh,
of 7
okay.
is defined by
7.
7 years.
Oh, okay.
So there's no way me and my sister could possibly be in the same generation.
Right. Yeah.
She's for sure a Gen Xer. That's Cobain in them. That's their generation. That's the ones who are the first lap or the first go round of kids from the baby boomers.
Yeah.
And then we're the second go round of kids from the baby. We're the ones who the baby boomers had as adults or somebody's divorced and now they're having a second family.
Yeah.
That was my generation.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be under that. You're something else.
Well, no, I think technically we were called millennials when I was in high school. We were called millennials when I was in college. At least by the second year of college, though, it was like Gen Z is the new one coming up. So I don't know the
Yeah,
exact
yeah, I
line,
think that's
but
what they call it.
we're kind of near
Because
that,
somebody
you know.
told me the other day I was a millennial, and I was like, "How the fuck is that
No.
possible?"
You have a youthful energy to you, but you're not. You're not. A
Well, no,
millennial.
I said, well, explain that to me. They go, well, basically, the generation you're in, the name of it is from like when you came of age. So,
Mm-hmm.
I would have come of age. I'd have been 20. I was born in 1980, so I'd have been 20 years old at the millennium shift to 2000. So, I kind of got that, and I kind of ran with it. But everything you look up is different. It describes different. That's why I don't give myself any kind of name. I'm just.
Social sciences are kind of.
It's based on bullshit.
Yeah,
It's
a lot of-
almost like
yeah.
astrology. Oh, I love it when women start talking about signs. It's my favorite thing
Oh my
in the
gosh.
world.
It's really
It's when they
everyone
start
out
talking about
here.
their
I'm going to start playing that game though. It's like the only way to date out here. It's
it's
just
like-
oh, I'm a Leo. What are you?
No,
You
I'll
know,
hang
like,
out with
fuck.
you, and we'll talk about William Cooper and the Bilderberg Group, and then I'll hang out with a woman, and she'll tell me how her last boyfriend was a Cancer, and we have the same birthday, and that's weird, and like I don't really know if I should fuck with you, and all this, and I'm like,
See, we have the cooler religion by far.
yeah, I'm like, bitch, you are goofy. You need to go talk to Jesus
Yeah,
or something. You got life fucked up. You're off. No, I'm just, because I can't base the decisions I make about people that I do business with or have relationships with on what month and day they were born.
Right.
That's so far into the realm of ridiculous. I'll go ahead and call you stupid if you do it. Right here.
Yeah.
My name is Khalil Tomlin. I'll give you my address if you want. You can pull up. You're stupid if you base any of your decisions on the zodiac, whether it be the traditional zodiac, the Chinese zodiac, whatever the fuck the Mayans did on that calendar. If you base your life on that, you're a stupid piece of shit. You're part of the problem. You're why we're failing as a society, and I hate you.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, well, the funny thing is like I've heard a lot of numerology type people be like, oh, some of it's this or that. I've always into archetypes and stuff. So
Numerology that's even lower than fucking astrology with me. If a bitch starts talking about numbers, I can't wait for the Capricorn chick to come back.
yeah.
Dude!
No. What I'm saying is all that stuff I think is whatever is going on with it. I'll put it this way. I don't think even the real versions of these things can like they totally predict you or control your destiny, which is kind of the belief. And even biblical stuff is like astrology is like one of the forbidden things. I think there's a reason. It's like most of the things in my view when I study religious stuff, I realize like, oh, it's saying don't do that because it leads to madness, it leads to bad health. Like a lot of the shit was just like, hey, take a shit outside of camp.
Yeah,
if your woman's PMSing, send her into the woods.
Send her-
I'm like,
if
hey,
that
let's
chick
bring
is-
that back.
If that
okay.
chick is bleeding, send that chick away. Here's the trick. If she starts bleeding every month, all the chicks around her start bleeding at the same time. You can send them all away at the same. Dude, I have a buddy who's
It's like heaven.
he's a Native American, but he looked like a white man to me. To quote Donald Trump, you don't look like no Indian I've ever seen. But there's a lot of that, and I heard that came. White guys started claiming Indian when the government actually said in the 1800s, hey man, we really fucked up. We got to get the Indian stuff. So every time they actually started giving away anything that was a benefit to Indians,
It was like to John Wayne.
there was a line of fucking Hondos showing up. And all of a sudden, he's half Chiricahua. No, he's not. That's a white man. His hair is blonde. His eyes are blue. He's not half anything from here.
Yep.
And here's the funniest part is, more than likely, those were like the way we know what we know and what we're taught of the native tribes that were here is so not true at all.
Mhm.
Like these weren't people that were foreign to people from Europe at all. The Tartarian Empire had made it to North America. Those buildings and all those fucking star islands and star fucking that shit's old and it's been here. So the natives came across that shit. The natives interacted with them. The natives changed. They wore clothes and pants and all that shit. They want to make it out like in 1619, white man. In 1619, Whitey showed up, and it was just a bunch of naked red people running around.
Yeah.
And that's just
But that was the British philosophy in their schools for so long.
Yeah.
You know.
we came and saved
Yeah.
the primitive man. That shit
Right.
wasn't true. These people were so far from primitive.
It's early propaganda.
They were,
another form of it,
yeah, they were so far. You figure we know how propaganda works. So if we just look at the stuff we were taught about the Indians, you figure everything's amplified over time. You figure that's complete and total bullshit.
Well, it's weird because there's some people who are like, oh, all the Native Americans were peace loving and they just smoke, weed all day and, commune with nature. That also didn't happen. What people don't understand is like, or think of when they think of these things is like, there's many different tribes, many different things going on. I think like kind of what you're talking about. I think there was probably like, the advanced architecture, Tartaria shit. Then there's Native Americans over here. There's different tribes who do different things. Some tribes are very into very dark, patently evil stuff like cannibalism or whatever. And other tribes are like, oh, no, it's the Great Spirit. So that's what people have to understand is like, we love to look at even me with like dark stuff. It's easy to go, oh, see, and then they did this and this. And then you cut out all the good and vice versa. You cut out all the bad or whatever. It's tough because you can't really teach people like, okay, this is the truth, remember it, and that's it. You have to teach people how to think, not what to think, right? Like that's the only thing you can do to empower people, and to just know that, hey, we're also at war. Like literally, no, it's quite literally like whatever the matrix is, society, it's at war with you. Like I saw somebody meme it where it's like it's not red versus blue, it's the state versus you. Like that's what the system is.
It is.
And so when
Because-
people realize that, that's when we become empowered.
And that goes back to what the whole topic of this podcast was the video we watched at the beginning.
Right.
Was
homeless guy at the Renfest.
yeah,
Yep.
was that the division is artificial. The red and blue, the donkey and the elephant, it's all artificial because
They're both assholes.
the
man.
people at the top of that food chain are all in bed with each other, sometimes literally.
Yeah.
But they're all together, and the cabal exists. People like the Clintons and the Bidens, they're part of it. If you don't understand that, you need to stop getting your news from Rachel Maddow, or as I call her, Chandler Bing. You need to stop getting your news from this fucking jackbooted Nazi dyke who's telling you to fucking stop talking to family members who don't get the vaccine. A chick,
That was the most evil type of shit they did, I
a
think.
friend
is
of the
that
show,
level of shit.
a friend of the show,
Mhm.
I was talking to last night, and she's vaccinated,
Mm-hmm.
but basically only because like she's a good citizen and follows. She does what
Yeah.
Big Brother says.
I
And
do
she doesn't-
whatever Klaus Schwab
Yeah,
says
and she
and Bill
doesn't question.
Gates,
So she got the vaccine, and I was saying how I was an anti-vaxxer, and the young lady she was with
Mm-hmm.
was agreeing with me, also anti-vaxxer. And she goes, "You're bitching about a vaccine, like you snort coke and shag people without condoms. Why do you care about a vaccine?"
And that should tell you how bad the vaccine is, just that.
It's just that I would rather shag. I'd rather shag a very
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
a very questionable Brazilian woman who may or may not have an Adam's apple with no condom before I take that fucking vaccine.
Hey, it was dark. It was late. We all had a few. You
Hey,
know.
man, she looked like a girl to me. Like, no, I'm just saying, like, I'd rather go out like that than take that fucking shot.
Yeah.
I don't care. And it has nothing to do with how many people died or who's sick of it or these people are saying, oh, it was all a setup or I don't care what's in it. I don't care who's getting sick or not. It was the fact that it came up too quickly and that's just not the way. See, my generation is the first. My parents wasn't. The stuff they were taught in school wasn't this. But part of the things that I learned between school and popular culture and TV and science was that virology works a certain way. And everything they were telling me every day went against everything I'd been taught already. You see what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
So it's like
terrain theory, germ theory.
I
you know.
get everything from you. If you give me my info, okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned it and I live by it. And now you're giving me opposing info,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not giving me an explanation to it.
And you're leaving out key facts.
And you're leaving out key
you know?
facts.
Yeah.
I should question it. Everybody who said, like my kid brother's different though. He'll tell you, man, just quit fucking around, get the vaccine, because he's one of those guys that like, hey man, if the vaccine's gonna kill me, I want it to kill you too. So that's why he's like, hey man, quit being a bitch and get the vaccine. But other people genuinely believed you don't care about your family and the elderly people around because you don't get the vaccine. And I keep saying like, that's not how virology works. And then people
It's
are
not how science works. I'm
and
sorry.
people are laughing at me because I'm a high school dropout and I use the word virology, so they're trying to put me down as if they had like this super high level of education. But the truth of the matter is, that's not how virology works. That's not how viruses work. That's not how. Nothing about the side effects or the effects in general of the vaccines qualify them to be called a vaccine. There's nothing about it. See, anything I give you,
It's a therapeutic,
and
right?
you're still
Yeah.
getting it, and you're still passing it on, that's not a vaccine at all. And anybody that can't see that is stupid. You're why we're failing as a society, and I lowball hate you.
Well, I don't even think it's stupid people. I think it's people that truly, I've known some really, really close friends of mine. They really are like, certain industries promote this, right? Where it's like an internal philosophy that never has to be spoken. And then when you speak against it, it's like, well, obviously that's not true because they're in this incubated thing. That's the problem with people who spend so much time at school
If
or
that
think
was
that
true-
it's, or even being taught a science that is useful in a certain industry. It doesn't mean you know everything, right? Like medical doctors are a great example. It's like
Oh,
they
yeah.
know how to prescribe pills from Big Pharma. And even recently, when I had my last bout with COVID, dude, vitamin C, I mean, I'm not saying this is the cure or whatever, but as far as symptoms and like getting back off the cliff without C, zinc, vitamin D, I probably, who knows, I might have gotten hospital. Like, it was bad. It was bad.
It's the coronavirus. The word is written on the back of the Lysol cans. It's been there for 15, 20 years. It's like a flu type of shit. Cold flu. It's in that family. It's in the cold flu virus type family. It's not.
I mean, it's mutated,
It's
I think,
not
for sure.
fucking
you know?
smallpox. It's not wiping out the
no,
native
no.
fucking population. There's
No.
nothing about that is true. Nothing. Nobody who got the shot didn't die of COVID because they got the shot.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, if you got the shot, you're not still alive because you got the shot. You're still alive because you didn't get the shot, the bad shot with the fucked up blood clot shit in it. That's all. Because I think they had different batches and some people
Oh,
were getting
there's been
placebos.
tons of nurse videos where they're like, see, they're like
Yeah.
different. One's placebo, one's this, and then one's like the real deal.
And I'm because they were experimenting, and when you
Yeah.
experiment, there are criterion of scientific experimentation. There are rules to scientific method. It's called scientific method, and the only way you can have a successful experiment, or an unsuccessful experiment, or anything that can be considered an experiment, is you have to follow scientific method. Another thing they taught us, they taught it, they engraved it in us. And the people who excelled in science, we never forgot it. But then all of a sudden, it went out of the window. It went out of the window altogether. And then we got this fucked up adrenochrome hep C fucking vampire as a president. And did you see him fall down at the Naval Academy?
No, but at this point, it's just like nothing shocks me.
It's
I'm
like,
just
dude,
you know.
like this fucking guy.
He could be drooling, like,
and
I'm just
not,
like, yeah.
not only isn't he a good president, he's not as good a president as the last guy. He's inherently racist. He's a piece of shit.
He is the one that they, the way they built up Trump
yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
People call Donald Trump racist because CNN and MSNBC make sound bites and they cut off video to make. But the truth of the matter is, Donald Trump's done more for black people than anybody in the Democratic Party. Including anybody in the Clinton family, anybody in the Biden. And I'm not gonna say anybody in the party, but anybody who has held high political office in the Democratic Party that is white. Donald Trump has done more for black people. I want you guys to. I hope this fucking goes. Donald Trump has done more for individual black people, not like even the black. Donald Trump is just a down motherfucker, and all black people fucked with Donald Trump until he started running for president, and then the whatever run media told us that we're not supposed to fucking. Oh, he's a racist. Oh, he said he's gonna put up a wall along the border. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Oh, that's what Obama ran on. People forget so quick. Like, we really have goldfish memory in this country. man.
Obama
Like, it's crazy.
deported more illegal immigrants of Latin descent than in his first 4 years, and then again, in any 4 year period than Donald Trump did in 4 years. Joe Biden in 2.5 years or 3 years has already deported more Latin descent immigrants back then, and all the shit with housing them and separating them from families. Barack Obama built those cages, and Joe Biden put them in those cages. And they're blaming it all on fucking Donald. They put everything on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the most mentioned white man in black popular culture out of anybody. Nobody's name and persona is mentioned more in rap music, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all the way up till he fucking ran for president. They said his name more than Bill Gates. They said Donald Trump's name in rap songs in the past 35 years more than they've said any of the people who held the title as the richest man in the world.
Because that's what America really idolizes, is just a success.
He
persona,
shat
you know?
on a gold toilet. He's been my hero since 1985, and I found out that the man shits on a gold toilet. He backed Jesse Jackson for president. He's given no interest loans to black business owners. Just like he don't give a fuck. He's genuinely like a good motherfucker. And you can't call him racist. Tell me something that he said or did that was racist. Just say it and I'll rebut and we can go from there. But give me something other than just telling me this man is racist, because I'm not. And that brings me to the merch that we pubbed earlier in the show. Our new T-shirt and hats, and this might get us fucked up. It's called we're taking over BLM. We're actually gonna, because you can't. I don't know if you can copyright or trademark an acronym. Only the words that the acronym stand for. But I don't know, because they made the World Wildlife Federation. You know, WWF had to change because of that. So
Yeah, I got in trouble for female body inspectors. Apparently, you can't patent that.
But
I was like, okay.
But we're trying to change BLM. The black lesbian Marxists who stole all your money because you guys were upset.
Now buying mansions.
Yeah, because you guys were upset that a police kneeled on a fucking dopehead that was full of fentanyl and he died. You guys basically financed their lifestyles, but because they're poor people, in lottery fashion, they've already filed for bankruptcy. They've lost everything. They bought like they got $90 million in a year. They invested $35 million into the stock market. So you're just a nigga that watched a lot of movies. You're stupid as fuck.
Well, that's the problem. Is they believe what they see. They don't go, hey, is this cut in a certain context, or what's the situation outside of it? It's all visual and it's emotional for everybody now. Because I remember getting into a fight with my buddy about this, where I was like, look, I agree. Like it didn't seem to be handled well, and this wasn't right. But you and I both, I think you can tell when something's unfolding in the media after being awake for so long, where you're like, regardless of what is bad about the situation, this is obviously like an event. Like this is controlled. Like, I mean,
very controlled.
See, that's where I do get into numerology, astrology, not where it's true or whatever, but the cult, the cabal, whatever you call
signal.
it. Yeah, it's a little sign. It's because they can't say, hey, we did this.
It's like the eclipse.
Yeah.
You're not making the eclipse. The eclipse is the sign to jump off.
It's like leaving the Joker calling card, and the rose or the little Joker card.
You fucker, you just did me. You just got me onto something else. But I was promoting our new T-shirt line and our new hat line.
That's right.
T-shirts, hats, hoodies, onesies for kids. We call it the new BLM, but we'll put it in writing you can barely see in very small where it says the new BLM, and we are the Black Lives MAGA.
Black Lives MAGA.
Black Lives MAGA.
There you go.
If we can get like any props from President Trump, that'd be awesome. But Black Lives MAGA, and we're gonna rock it. And if he'll rock it, that'd be the shit. It is not. And like I said, I don't want to get super. I don't want to put myself, but I consider myself a conservative person. I don't want to ascribe to any political party. I think they're both corrupt, and they're both the same group of people, like the video said.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat.
But I am on the conservative side of the line, and I think that most black people are. And what's weird is that they all are told to vote liberally, or they're not black.
It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. Well, I know, dude. I could not. When he said that, I was like, oh, he's done. He's done so many things where I'm like,
Trump,
he's done.
Yeah. You ain't black.
But I agree with you. I definitely have more conservative leaning. Anytime, it didn't matter if we were talking politics or whatever. People always just. Also, I think it's my vibe. People do a lot of you're this race. This is your build. This is what you look like. This is who you remind me of. So people, especially in LA. By the way, I do find LA to be the most racist city I've ever been in my life. By the way, I don't mean everybody, but when you're in cities where there's like, you have tons of people living on top of each other, tons of different groups. New York probably has similar things where it's like
Garland, Texas. But go ahead.
Well, I haven't been to Garland.
The
to be
most
fair.
racist place on the planet.
Well,
go ahead.
What I mean by that is like there's no like daily like people who are like if you have a family, right? Like I remember like the BLM line, they were doing the march or whatever, and I'm filling up gas, and there was this Mexican guy comes up to me out of nowhere. Which in LA it's weird when you have a stranger come up to you. You're like, oh, is everything cool?
Because nobody speaks to anybody.
Yeah, but he was like. I realized almost instantly, I was like, oh, he's just like a family man. He works construction. He's like, man, can you believe this shit? And I was like, oh, yeah. You know what I mean? And it was like, so that's where people come together, right? I'm not trying to start a race war here. No, but my point is with LA is like I've been in certain instances where people go, like it's a perceived slight or whatever, and then they're immediately like, oh, like it gets racial or whatever. I'm like, okay, guys, let's at least shoot for the, camaraderie.
Let's hope that he didn't mean it that way.
Yeah. And I get it. There's a lot of like, there's traffic, there's bad energy, but that's the kind of shit where I'm just like, it's not that, rural areas don't also have that in some places, but people, I think Americans forget, like, we're all growing up with entertainment and stuff like that. Like, the average person isn't really, that's my view anyway. I don't think the average person is racist or whatever. The average person is just like, okay, this is my world. How do I get a job and pay? You know what I mean? That's the average person. Especially when I met this guy, I was like, oh yeah, it's like, and it's funny because that's what gets called conservative, but it's not. It's just people with common sense who actually show up to work and pay their bills. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a Republican guy. I'm not a Democrat or Republican guy. I'm
not either. I'm
common
just,
sense,
yeah.
what makes sense person. That's
but
it.
Some people think that common sense is that, you can be a girl if you feel like a girl and all that shit. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
But don't forget our merch: Black Lives MAGA hats, T-shirts, hoodies, fucking beanies, onesies for kids, sex toys for your old lady, cock pills, fucking bumper stickers. We got it all, man.
That's right. That's weirdman.com.
That's
you can also get
weirdman.com.
we're going to have stickers. We're going to have
.net.
That's weirdman.com. Don't listen to him. All right.
.tv.
I handle the technical shit over here. Okay. If you need, if you're going to send crypto, send it to me. No.
Oh, shit. Don't get me started with that. I lost the fucking mint with Dogecoin.
Oh, yeah. I fell for that too. But
no, I won with the first one. It wasn't Doge. What was the first one? It was Doge, and then there was one after. It was like, Dogecoin was the
Shiba
second.
Inu.
Shib.
They got me.
Yeah.
They got me. I tweeted about it like an idiot.
Here's why. I
never even tweet.
I won with the Doge. Like, I had bought Dogecoin before the influx because I saw something on YouTube with some weird Scandinavian kid. And I was like, that kid looks like he gets laid a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably got a pretty big dick on him.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about. So I listened to him. And it worked out. I was high. I forgot all about what I was doing. And then honest to God, it was like my $350 turned into like $1,900, $2,000 or something.
It's not bad.
I cashed out and I bought some shit and I bought $500 worth of Shib. And it tanked. Tanked, and then it's coming back. It's never reached back to where I bought in, and that's what I said. Oh, this is a fugazi. It's a fawazi.
Yeah.
This is what
it's fairy dust.
That's what it is. So this doesn't really exist. And then I went on this whole tangent about how, man, I did the research on how to publish a coin.
Yeah.
I was gonna buy advertising space
Mm-hmm.
and launch my own fucking meme coin and steal a bunch of people's money. I had the whole idea laid out. I said, I'm the guy who'll get there just in time where like the what is the SBC? Is that them? Who's the
Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC.
SEC. To where SB. What the fuck is SB? Well, they can get involved, and I'll be the first nigga ever to go to jail. Like, I know this girl, and she's dating the only nigga in California that went to jail for PPP fraud. Everybody did it. Everybody bought a bunch of shit. She's like in love with this dude, and he's the only nigga in Cali. He's from L.A., East Side nigga. He the only nigga in Cali that went to jail for PPP fraud. I know niggas got Lamborghinis, new houses, farms, cigarette boats. Ain't nobody went down and shit. This nigga went to jail, like jail.
Fuck.
He went to like jail. Like, hey, to each his own.
Yeah.
To each his own, I guess. I'm too old. Once you reach a woman, especially a minority woman, this goes out to the minority women. Once you reach 30, you're too old to date any man that goes to jail regularly. Anything can happen in anybody's life. Shit happens, you go to jail.
Well, if you're going to jail regularly.
If this guy has gone to jail 3 times or more in the past 5 years, this isn't someone you should be dating if you're over 30 because you're an adult.
Yeah.
You're an adult, and it's just ridiculous. It's just, and I'm not trying to put nobody down, but she's going to know I'm talking about her. See, she doesn't answer me back when I text her, when I hit her up, but she's for sure knows I'm talking about her.
Yeah,
and she's going to talk some shit now. This was a bait, actually. I'm baiting her out because I've been hitting her up. It's like, bitch, you ain't going to answer back. All right, bet. I'm going to talk about you on the podcast. That's how I do. That's how I do with everybody. Like, if you don't answer my messages, I'll just discuss our conversations or what my problems are with you in public.
Here's what you should tell your mother. Okay.
See, I have a platform and you don't. So you can get mad and you can curse me out, and it's fine. You can talk about my mama and talk about talk about my dick. You do whatever you want to do. But next week I'll be talking about you again on Rockfin. So try it if you want. Rockfin, give a shout out to Rockfin.
Oh, that's right. Rockfin.
Big
Thank you
props to
again for.
Rockfin.
Oh yeah,
Rockfin.
absolutely.
Rockfin.
Rockfin.com/that's weird, man.
I worked out today. I feel vigorous.
I know. I'm taking a lot of creatine. We gotta balance out the podcast here. Okay. I'm like doing lines of creatine.
Lines.
Just sticking a handful of green tea leaves up my ass. I'm like, is it working yet?
I love the fact that we're completely in charge of this and we can edit around some of our.
Oh, for sure.
But we haven't gone off the rail.
Yeah.
We haven't gone off rail today bad at all.
A little bit, but we've come back. We keep coming back.
We keep coming back. Sometimes we don't.
Yeah,
Sometimes the tangent turns into a separate tangent.
Well, let's talk about the whole red pill movement, right? Because that became a conservative, from the liberal media's perspective,
it.
that became like you're red pill. Red pill was beautiful because when I found it, I was like, and the people who were talking about red pill, it was about waking up about the lives of society, looking past the binary, and somehow, like what they did with the word woke, they bring it back into their fold and go, oh, red pill means, oh, you're a conspiracy, crazy, racist person. You're a bigot.
Reference.
You know, yeah, you're.
They
you know
made
what I
it a
mean?
Matrix reference. It's fucking crazy, man.
You know, well, I wanted to do a whole bit about, like Klaus Schwab telling you why the red pill's bad, and he's like, the red pill, it makes you think things that you are dangerous for the hive mind society. And the blue pill, there are some side effects. You might be a little depressed and bored, but you will be a perfect cog in the system. See, the matrix cannot be explained; it must be experienced, and so we are going to experience it today together. So I'm working on that.
It can't be taught;
but,
it can only be learned.
That's right.
It's awesome. No, man, that's good shit. The red pill thing, whenever you say red pill, I immediately start thinking Pearl and fucking
Yeah, I mean,
those fresh and fit idiots.
I don't dislike Pearl, but
I love Pearl.
she's
I'll fight you.
no.
I'll fight you right now. Pearl, I'll fight him for you. I'll fight you right now.
Pearl, I want to be clear.
Giant redheaded freckle-faced white woman.
He's framing this in a bad way. I'm not
Giant
saying I dislike
fucking
you.
awesome babies with that shit. Get the fuck out of here. I'll kick your ass about Pearl.
All right, I touched a. All right, we'll move on.
King Kong went big about that white woman. Don't fuck with me about no white women, man. I will fuck shit up.
Pearl,
I'll
we
tear all
love
this shit
you.
up
We'd
in
love
here.
to have you on the podcast.
I'll tear all this shit up in here.
I'll destroy the fucking set. I don't
Tear
care.
all this shit up. I'll go to who in this bitch. I'll start tearing shit up.
All right.
No, but there's my guy Tate, and then I hear a bunch of different stuff about
Yeah, Tate's out of jail.
I hear a bunch of stuff about why Tate actually got taken down, and if it's true, that guy's got balls. Like, he's got balls on him, but everybody has a breaking point.
Sure.
And there are people that are so powerful that they could just walk into a room and take us out of it and put us somewhere forever, and there's nothing we can do about it. And not only that, it's like you say, fuck, I did 10 years in the joint. I could sit in the box all day. But then they'll kill you. Then they'll give you fucking cancer with the water. Well, you can either die of thirst or the water will give you cancer. Like, they do shit like that.
Yep.
So he knows now. The theory I heard about Tate was that Tate and his brother have amassed a fortune right around $400 or $500 million.
I didn't know it was that much. Fuck.
Yeah. And that with that money that they have, even if it's less than that, everything they have, everything, network. So basically, they were going to start their own bank in opposition of the World Bank.
Oh, that'll do it.
That's all it takes. That shit got Kennedy killed. It got fucking Abraham Lincoln killed. It got them killed in the same fashion.
Yeah.
So apparently that was really the move, because he did a bunch of videos right before he disappeared about the dollar.
Mm.
The dollar's collapsing. This.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of shit on that. And I think they used the Thunberg shit as they blew that up to be like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Right.
And they were going to fuck this guy because it was really about, you can't fuck with money. And the truth of the matter is, I don't think I have a big enough audience for somebody to do something to me about this. But the truth of the matter is that every community, we can break it down into neighborhoods. Every neighborhood, every community, every township, every city, they can form their own bank, their own savings and loan, the same way George Bailey had on fucking It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally like, it's a savings and loan. All you people bring your money in here, and basically what we do is with the money you give us, we loan money to members of the bank when they need it. And then the interest they pay back goes into your account. So you can keep it there and save it and grow interest. You can join and get a loan when you need it. That's all it is. You don't need to be able to print money. You don't need to be able to do any of that. And that's the way banking was until it wasn't. And
Until the Federal Reserve.
The
and all
Federal
that shit.
Reserve and the World Bank Organization is literally the head of the snake. Everything in the cabal wiggles after the World Bank Organization. Every decision is made in its
It's the
best
IMF,
interest.
right? The International
It's
Monetary, Fund.
Fund.
Yeah.
It's all made in the best interest of the IMF and the fucking World Bank Organization. Everything, every war fought, every bullet fire, every fucking rifle fired.
I think
every-
even big films that get greenlit, because you could start seeing that, especially in one of those Tom Cruise movies, Mission Impossible, where you're like, oh shit, they're like putting this in the movie now. Like stuff where like you couldn't put this in the movie 10 years ago. Because once it's not an active war or an active psyop, oh yeah, give it to Hollywood, you know, or whatever.
Absolutely.
It's crazy, you know.
Absolutely. So basically, it goes like this. If you think about it like this, the Federal Reserve note, a dollar bill in your pocket, is basically an IOU.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So it would behoove them for there to be an emergency where the government says, "Don't worry, everybody, we foot the bill," because the government owes them.
Yeah.
So Pfizer's never gone over $10 billion a year ever in the history of their company. And
That's
they
right.
Made $100
the
billion.
vaccine.
They made $100 billion. That's just Pfizer. We're not counting Moderna. We're not counting Johnson & Johnson and whatever the fuck else, right? All of these people, if it cracked me up, anybody was so stupid to say, oh, the shot is free. No, it's not. The shot isn't free. The government paid for the shot, and now the taxpayers are going to pay it back.
That's what I was going to say just real quick about the shot, by the way, because I'm policy-wise, I would love to support RFK Jr. I just don't
So
think he
would
would win.
It's his voice.
Yeah. And I think for both of us, like we have a couple criticisms,
Nobody
obviously.
that talks
of,
like this could ever get elected president. I knew a nigga.
But did you hear
lived
what he
down the
said,
street
dude?
that talked like this.
Yeah.
His mama ran off and his daddy stole the TV. You can't elect no nigga president to talk like this. How a motherfucker gonna be in the White House talking like this? Said Vladimir Putin. You can't be doing that shit you doing, Putin. I'm telling you, this shit is stupid. You can't elect a motherfucker that talks like that. Other than that, he's awesome.
He just did Black RFK Jr. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Dude, that was the best. I'm sorry, that was the best. So what I was going to say was people always want to make it like, oh, you're anti-vax, you're pro-vax. Even RFK Jr., the leader of this stuff, is he always gets characterized as anti-vax. He's not anti-vax across the board. He's going, hey, a lot of these vaccines, it went from 3 when I was a kid to like 72 now. We vaccine way more in America than almost anywhere else in the Western world.
And the fact that the fucking COVID vaccine is actually physically hurting people, and there's evidence of it.
And it's experimental, and there's no what do you call that when it's experimental and you can't basically you can't sue over it if you have over
because
damages.
the fine print that's why a certain percentage of them you were saying earlier,
Yeah.
where they had to do this is a placebo because that's how
you get more people to do it, right?
Well,
Because
that's
some
how-
people don't have bad
well,
side
that's how
effects.
experimental drugs are run. Is there has to be a blind test with a placebo and a control.
Absolutely.
That's how
Absolutely.
again scientific method.
Yeah.
See, all the stuff they taught us, we could use it against them. It's like teaching the slaves how to read with the Bible and the whole shit.
No, logic and common sense is the death of all this. That's why people go because
Reason will prevail.
Exactly, because I would talk about stuff because I never come at stuff going like, well, here's why you should join the GOP. You know what I mean? People always think in those kinds of terms. I'm like, no. Here's why it's all bullshit and it's all nonsense. Because I used to have friends where they're like, hey, we agree on a lot, but you just seem too conservative, man. I'm like, dude, you will support the Democratic nominee and the Democratic talking point and the Democratic thing CNN saying every week of every conversation we ever talk, and you say I'm the one who's hypnotized.
And
I'm
I
like,
don't even watch the
I hate
right.
most
I don't
politicians.
even watch the news from the right. You live off the news from the left. I don't even watch everybody that
No,
I
the right
disagree
just
with-
telling me stuff I already know. So I'm like, cool. you know?
Everybody
Yeah.
that's left leaning that I disagree with, they immediately start talking about, oh, Fox News and Tucker Carlson. I don't watch any of that shit.
No.
I am a professional admirer of Tucker Carlson. I think he's awesome. I think he's one of those guys who's willing to step
Yeah.
out of the box. He's so awesome. I'm afraid he's a psyop, man. He's that awesome.
Well, that's been my thoughts about Trump too, where I'm like, he's done certain things where I'm like, I still think he's the best chance for America. I haven't changed my mind on that point. from like a strategy and factoring everything in, because people once again go, "Oh, you like it because he's racist." I'm like, well, that's part of it, but no,
I like a good bigot in charge.
yeah, you know, you have
Look,
to.
I don't know nothing.
You need an asshole in that,
Bro,
in the Oval Office.
I
Let's
don't
be
know
honest.
nothing
okay?
until a white man tells me. So I mean, I need a good bigot in charge.
Well, and the white people need a white person to tell them what to do too. You know, that's
why
that's
do-
the problem. The whole system's like that. It's everybody's waiting, going like, well, what do I? Nobody goes like, hey, well, except for people like us, where we're like, well, let's at least try to put the dominoes together. Like, I like to understand. I can't say I know something until I know how the sausage gets made.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? And that's when I go like people who are very, especially in the modern media culture, it's all about, ooh, you have the hot take, you have the emotional reaction. I think we can do hot takes and stuff like that too, but it's not about, oh, we're just trying to be shocking. It's about, we're just being honest. And if it happens to be a hot take, so be it. It blows up. We get a viral moment. Cool. But it's about shooting for honesty. I think honestly, especially with podcasting, people are craving once again, you know, like what we're doing, just honest conversations and just not having to filter out the bullshit of the world, acting like, oh, society isn't falling apart. It's like, yes, it fucking is. And we can talk about it. We can have a laugh about it. You know, it's important.
The biggest thing I like about having a platform is that there's so much stuff that we see every day on the internet or wherever, and we go, how come nobody's covering this? What's the motivation behind not one news outlet covering this?
Exactly.
And so I want to be able to be like, hey, like, I never used to, like, I read a lot of shit and I learned a lot of shit, but all of it was kind of theoretical.
Mm-hmm.
I learned about the Bilderberg Group and all that shit years ago. And I'm like, okay. And so I know the name of it. I know what they claim to be about. I see the Morlock pictures and all that, but that's the other shit. But then it's like with the Bilderberg Group, all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, okay, the Bilderberg Group. But I'm black and I was ignorant. So I drank the Obama Kool-Aid early on. I've always been conservative.
That was the biggest psyop on everybody. By the way.
Yeah. Oh, dude, his wife has a dick. Their kids were made in a lab. His adopted father was one of the richest men in the world, fucking Lolo Soetoro. He did adopt him. The kid grew up as Barry Soetoro all the way through school.
He has a British passport.
He has a British passport. I'm gonna say it again. His wife has a dick. Like everything with him being president, like. As a child, he grew up in the company of the Bush family. Like,
well, he's connected to all the WikiLeaks stuff. The Clinton Foundation, the pizza place that's like, oh, this was bullshit, Pizzagate. No, it wasn't. It was real. That was all a cover up. Fuck you guys.
Bro, can I tell you something, man? Look, and this is no judgment against anybody. And everybody has
I judge the Satanists for
everybody,
sure.
Well, everybody has the right to live without hurting anybody else.
Yeah.
However they want. And to the fullest and be happy.
Sure.
And in that vein, anybody who might not feel like they're supposed to be in the body they're in or whatever, hey man, do whatever makes you happy. Do whatever makes you happy, and you're not a bad person, and nobody can villainize you to me.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of people that matter, because I'm the motherfucker that's going to stand up for you and help you if something goes bad.
No, I'm the same
But
way. Yeah.
lying about your wife being a woman,
It's a big deal. Yeah.
and then actually all the different videos and shit that went viral and shit on Ellen about all these women who went on these workout plans because they wanted their arms to look like Michelle Obama's in the dress. And I'm like, that bitch got back arm. Like, she had a little horseshoe. Like, I worked hard to make my arms get big. Like that. I'm like, that's just a big black dude.
It really rubs me the wrong way when because I've had this in real life too, where it's like, you know, girls do this a lot, where it's like, oh, you're so pretty, and you're just like, can we cut the bull? Like, we don't have to be mean, but can we not be this fake, oh, you look great when you really don't? Even if she was a woman, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't look good for a woman.
That reminds me, I
Michelle.
was at a titty bar once. I think Lo might have been with me, and this was years ago. And we're in there, and this chick, she's got all this like ridiculous. She was in the early wave of the Kardashian ridiculousness, and this really, really pretty Latin girl. You could tell, like, her ID picture was the only real picture of her she had left.
Oh shit! Okay.
She was so pretty.
Yeah.
She was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
This girl got the big fake lips, cut her nose, was Botoxed in the face.
Yeah.
She got giant implants, like cartoonishly, novelty size tits. I always call those novelty size. And then she got her waist sucked in, 2 ribs at the bottom removed, so her shit tapered in even smaller, and got a giant fake ass.
Oh, I thought she got a rib removed so she could suck her own dick for a minute.
I don't know. But she was in the club, and there's always a certain time of night and certain strippers you're around when cocaine comes out. So now these chicks they're not just drinking, now they're doing coke.
Right.
And so the chick with the body, fake body, she starts just crying to the other girl, and there was a girl in our party. There was a girl with us. Somebody brought a girl with us. And she goes, I hate myself. I look like a monster. And the other girl goes, no, you don't. You look so good. And I'm saying to myself, no, she looks like a monster. She should follow her first fucking mind. She literally fucked herself up. And the fact that there's doctors that'll do that to a woman is just, there are so many girls, not in real life. There's quite a few in real life, but more on social media. You know, they have a way to focus it at you. But there's so many average girls with average jobs and average lives and low income that have a lot of plastic surgery. I went into the Home Depot on Sunset. There's a Latin girl in there that got the full Monty, for lack of a better word, and she was really pretty. And I saw her when she was in there. She was getting trained, and I walked by. I was minding my own business. I'm not like trying to pick up chicks. I'm not even tripping. And I go, you're not going to be working here real long. And I started laughing. There was a brother cutting keys. He said, why you say that to her? I said, man, look at her, man. We're on Sunset. I just pulled up in a Maserati. Some nigga and some rich motherfucker's gonna pull up in here and tell her, you ain't gotta work at Home Depot no more, baby. That's coming.
Oh yeah.
That's what it's all about being a woman. The best you can get being a good looking man is just pussy thrown at you sometimes. But nobody's gonna take you off and give you a better life.
Yeah, you still gotta have money and. I mean, maybe if you fall into acting, there's the Brad Pitt
popularity
stories, but that's like that's the 1% of the 1%
popularity will
of
do
chance.
it. You don't have to have money. Popularity will do it for a man.
Yeah,
but like, I'll go on my little runs and I'll fucking get all ripped up and I'll lift weights every day and I'll just stand around, walk around with no shirt on and shit. And eventually, it's always some.
I do that too, but I get different reactions.
But chicks start hitting on you. But this is a girl wearing fucking work pants and an orange vest and an orange bib and all this different shit, and she was just like. She was an LA 9, bro. And she works at fucking Home Depot. She's got to be under 25.
I've seen a couple. It's usually at Starbucks where I'm like,
she was
thanks.
an LA 9.
Like,
she was an LA 9, like a New York 9. Like, so she was like a Miami 8, because Miami's different, bro. Oh,
Miami's
bro. No, like, I went to Miami and Fort Lauderdale and was like, man, if I could, like, get me a real quick hustle going, I just won't leave. Like, it's like that there. But no, this chick, I was like, oh yeah. And so I said that, the guy was laughing, and then when I left, I thought about it to myself. I said, I only said it because it was funny and it came to mind, but the truth is, that's the truth. Rihanna would get as much attention from men if she worked at the drive-thru at McDonald's. Chris Brown wouldn't. You know what Chris Brown would do? He'd be able to fuck all the chicks that work at McDonald's because he's like over 6'2" and he's light-skinned. So he'd fuck all the chicks at McDonald's. But the bitches pulled up in the drive-thru wouldn't be checking for him.
No.
But Rihanna working in the drive-thru is fucking as many men as she can fuck now. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And that's the inequity. That's how it goes. It's just one of those
Well, women
things.
have a good running. Their run is in the younger half of their life, right? Men, it's usually the later half, as far as like once you have resources and things like that.
Exactly. Well, that's why you see so many guys. My age, I'm fucking 15 years older than you, but guys my age typically are with girls about your age.
Yeah.
It's real shit.
I don't find that weird, by the way. It's funny when the tabloids go, "Oh, Leo." Okay.
I married a girl, had 3 kids with her, your age. My best friend married a girl. They have a kid coming now, your age. Like I know another guy I went to school with. He's our age. His girl can't be no more than like 30. Like, and they're still having. That's just how it go. And he's not successful at all. He's actually the opposite of successful. But it's like it's the way it is. Once you kind of reach a certain mindset in life, it matches up with that. It's like that. I'm at my prime and you're at your prime.
Right.
But some people
Benjamin Buttons.
Some
meet in the middle.
some people. Fuck you, man. I'm done. Let's stop.
So definitely check out the website. That's weirdman.com. You get the T-shirts, you get videos, live events. We got some definitely want to plug your drive-in right now.
Live events coming. So this summer, all summer, every Friday, we'll try to expand to Saturday. Now, bear in mind it's a little drive if you're in Angelino. It's about 45, 50 minutes. But if you're in the Antelope Valley, Apple Valley, any of that shit, you're 20, 30 minutes away. We have a drive-in that we don't show B movies, but we show cult classics and a lot of shit. It's a great time. We have like real restrooms, running water and electricity. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Porta John shit. It's rural and it's among the Joshua trees. But basically, I own ranch land, and I decided, hey man, let's build a kick-ass drive-in in homage to the way I grew up. There's really no drive-ins left, and they're starting to come back.
That's right.
And to my knowledge, there are no other black-owned drive-ins anywhere in the county, perhaps even the state, so the region. So it would be that one, and all the info to it is on the website. We're hoping to be ready for Tupac's birthday. Falls on a Friday. It's June 16th, so we wanted to do like a Tupac movie marathon, and it's going to be a whole thing. That's what we're shooting for. If we can't, it will for sure be by the end of June, maybe early July, but it'll be a big, huge deal. Go on the website, go on to YouTube, go on Instagram. Let us know if you want tickets. It's basically 1 ticket per car. You can put as many people in the car as you want, and we'll send you all the rules and stuff. But it's an experience. It's not just it's a good time. It's basically going to be a big ass party. It'll be really cool. The first round, we're giving away 25 tickets for free. That's 25 carloads of people. You, your family, your friends, you guys all load in there. I'm not averse to you pulling up in a pickup truck with people in the back. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to host. We're going to have a lot of shit, awesome movies, really good food. We have a little food truck coalition coming. Like I said, for the ladies, because it matters. We have running water in the restrooms, a little fire pit situation. Like I said, it's among the Joshua trees. It's a little rural, but not if you're from out there. Really good time at That's Weird Ranch, formerly known as Tomlin Ranch, now known as Weird Ranch. It's going to be a big, huge deal, and we want everybody to have fun. So like I said, we're giving away 25 free carloads for the first weekend that we're open.
Sweet. Looking forward to it, man.
Okay.
It's going to be a double feature, right? So that'll be fun.
It's going to be a minimum double feature. And then when we show the Friday movies, it's going to be the trilogy.
Hell yeah.
So it's good. That's how it goes. And it'll be on a Friday. I think my birthday falls on a Friday this year in July, so maybe that Friday will. But definitely going to have a great time. A lot of good people, good times. And my land is actually built on, well, not built, but it's situated on that part of the Mojave Desert is literally a bed of rose quartz. So if you're one of those weird crystal people, you're free to walk away with whatever you pick up, and maybe there'll be some good vibrations coming out of the ground.
Next round, we'll start charging for the crystal.
Oh, you're going to pay for the crystals the second round. Yeah, we're going to patch.
We're going to all put our hands on it, summon the UFOs.
Absolutely.
So
No. I think we had an awesome little little discourse today.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed it very much, and we stayed on topic. How about that?
Yeah.
That's a first. That's a first in us personally.
Yeah.
Just stay on topic.
I think we're both like tuning into like 50 channels, so we're like, okay, let's try to keep it.
That's what it is. But a little prior proper planning, we got it. We got it.
That's good.
But the little chocolate gnome from the fucking thing,
Mm-hmm.
he was dead on. He basically gave us a 45 to a minute and 15-second synopsis of the teachings of William Cooper.
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. Believe what you want, but don't believe everything, please.
Yeah. Well, and don't take our word for it. Shows like this, what's beautiful about it is like it's a show that exposes you to things. You have a good time. It's entertainment. It's comedy. It's also packed full of useful information. Do your own homework. I'm never a guy, and I don't think Khalil is either, where we want to propagandize people. We want to just share what we've learned, and we want to learn too. We're always learning. If you have links, if you have videos, or, oh, this is a crazy thing that happened to me, send it in, especially paranormal videos, weird videos. We'll feature it, in the podcast or at least on the channel. Follow us on youtube.com/@symbol that's weirdman 1984. And then my backup at Elsewhere TV.
I'm convinced now that we're on the same wavelength, because I was just about to say that about sending us videos.
Yeah.
In that realm, please. Anything interesting? No guys getting hit in the crotch with a football videos.
No.
Those are awesome. You can send those to my personal direct message. I'll keep all of them.
Yeah.
But
we still might show them, but
probably just have them running in the back.
Yeah.
But definitely anything that you see as like an anomaly,
UFOs,
something weird you see, UFOs,
ghosts.
something you see out in the woods, something you see in the water, please.
Your mother-in-law naked.
Please send it, and we will dedicate, depending on how interesting it is, a great deal of time on the pod to it.
Absolutely.
We'll mention you. We'll give you props for taking the video.
We'll do shout-outs, all that shit. Yeah. All right.
We're going to go get drunk,
That's right.
because that's what grown men do at this time of day on a Thursday.
That's what a professional podcaster does.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's about talking and drinking.
It's about time. It's about space.
Ain't
It's
going to
about
meet up
time
with us?
to slap your face.
Right
So.
on.
So I think
we
that's
didn't do a
good,
cheers at the
oh, no, we
beginning,
didn't.
but
No.
here's to those who wish us well, and
And-
those who don't can go to hell. Right
God
on.
bless.
God
Cilantro.
bless.